Hey everyone, I'm Necromuncher, let's draw. But today, we're going to do something a little different. And by we, I mean me, since you're probably still going to let this video play in the background while you doom scroll through TikTok, as usual. What I'm going to do today that is different is not draw a mashup of two lovable yet possibly fringe geeky franchises in the hopes that it gets me more views. But instead, today I'm drawing something out of my D&D campaign, specifically a special transformation the character of one of my players now unlocked. First, a little background, as in story background, we're still quite a long way from the picture background. Roughly 5 years ago, me and my first ever D&D group just finished our first story arc with players across 3 time zones and countries including USA and Japan. At that time, I also noticed that my close friends and I are starting to drift apart due to life happening, and I suggested to start a D&D group so we'll have a bi-weekly excuse to meet up, and I was even willing to DM. We were way too many people, like 8, including several couples, and none of us had any experience, so it was chaotic as hell. Nevertheless, 3 years later, that's 2 years ago, the remnants of that group survived to be my current 4-player group, and one of them plays a barbarian. Not just any barbarian, the group split roughly when they reached level 3 and he chose as his subclass to be a zealot barbarian. Tanky as all heavens, he chose to follow Helm, which is a god of light and truth and protection in the D&D lore and also in the lore of my custom original Do Not Steal world. Roy, the player, took the whole help the weak part too far, and at some point he forced some poor farmer to accept his help in the form of replacing said farmer's plowing bull. Just so you get the full picture, this is a 20 strength barbarian with a giant grey sword coming up to a commoner and repeating the phrase "I am Bull" over and over again. Now, I was always the dramatic, lore-heavy, serious DM, and my players are casual, ADHD-inflicted meme rats, like all D&D players. I mean, the group name is Boonmeme, since our druid thought it's more funny than saying Moonbeam. So I did as I usually do, which is take their in-game jokes and turn them into something serious in-world, usually combining it with a story thread they didn't yet discover or fully revealed. A little more background to make some of it make sense. In our setting there are 2 moons, Selûne and Arun, silver and gold, large and small, older and younger sisters. Arun is the yellow golden moon and also the goddess of forthright magic, like evocation and abjuration, no tricks or shenanigans. Selûne is the silver, larger moon and also the goddess of cunning magic, like illusion and transmutation. All shenanigans here. So, as a part of a storyline that I will not reveal in full since my players are watching, the dark side of Selûne invoked a forced transmutation on all of the party members. Each character became something that takes their core personality up to 11. Shorian, Roy's barbarian, became a raging 3-meter tall, flame-engulfed bull with a miniature sun between his horns. At the end of that night of transformation, each party member reverted to their original form, though some of them were permanently changed in some way. For example, our Water Genasi Tempest Cleric had her original racial acid resistance switched to lightning resistance. Ever since that night, Shorian tried to invoke this form when raging, formally taking the role of Helm's flaming champion, but at the time he wasn't close enough to Helm's ideal and religion. Recently, like 2 sessions ago at the time of recording, Shorian finally strengthened his connection with Helm to the point where he can willingly transform to the Sun's Bull when he rages. Since I changed the channel schedule to release a video once every 4 weeks, watch the announcement on the last video's ending ramble, it means there will be some months that have 2 videos released, one at their start and one at the end. This October of 2024 is such a month, and I decided to take the double months as an opportunity to draw an original thing with no IP attached. I mean, technically, D&D is a Wizard of the Coast IP, and they are a Hasbro company, but you get it, the story and character belong to my group, and the whole Flaming Bull thing is ours. And finally, we're getting to what I'm drawing today, 5 minutes in. Going through the design elements of the character, we have first and foremost a Minotaur, upright with cloven-hoofed feet and fingerful hands. Despite the skeleton of real-life hoofed animals, which have 1 to 4 digits, I go with the school of giving Minotaurs 5 fingers and not, say, 3 like some franchises choose to do. Next, we have the flamey bits, starting from the mentioned miniature sun through the eyes and mouth to the chains holding the holy symbol and the sun's scorcher's sword. For the sun, I took inspiration from the oldest sources, ancient mythology, and specifically the Egyptian goddess Hathor, who was a major sky deity often described as a fertile cow with the sun disk between her horns. The eyes and mouth emanating light is basically a powerful trope I most recently recalled from the Avatar series and the Avatar state, but you can see it in many other places trying to show holy or spiritual power coming from within someone. The Sun Scorcher sword is a giant +3 legendary greatsword with 3 meters reach that deals 3d6 slashing damage, plus 2d6 fire damage, plus 1d6 radiant damage, and emits light like an especially strong torch. Also, it comes into existence when Shorian transforms, and vanishes when he transforms back, so it's a very limited time buff. Because I like items that level up with you, I might add some features to it later in the campaign, depending on how the story goes and how closer will Shorian get to fulfilling the role and ideals of Helm's champion. Speaking of Helm, at the center of Shorian's chest, strapped with white hot chains, is Helm's symbol in my setting, which is the mirror shield. Helm's normal symbol in the Faerun lore is an upright left gauntlet with the staring eye on it, which is too complex to be a common spread, infinitely replicated and reproduced symbol of a central faith, and it's also ugly in my opinion. My idea was that since Helm is a god of light and truth, he would be associated with mirrors, and since he's also an ever-vigilant protector, his symbol would be a reflective silver shield. Quick tangent about vampires and mirrors. Vampires are believed to not show in mirrors because mirrors used to be made by fine polishing silver, which was believed to ward off evil spirits, hence silver things against werewolves and the whole silvered weapons deal in general. Meaning that a silver mirror could also reveal the truth about vampires and some such, which is important in our setting. In another Boon Meme video, I'll tell you all about Kida, our chaotic neutral sports druid who decided to become a vampire just because. And I quote, "I had my goals, I just didn't know what they were." Back to the drawing, we see Shorian holding in his left burning hand the severed head of an unfortunate orc. This is the second video in a row where I draw a severed orc head assumed to be decapitated by a fierce, practically immortal powered-up form of a well-meaning himbo warrior who made a deal with an otherworldly being. The reason that Shorian is so rude to this orc is because when Shorian was a young boy, orcs raided his village and killed his family, all except for his sister Carrion, who they kidnapped instead. I won't get into much more details about her since she's an NPC, but long story short, she became a powerful necromancer, escaped captivity while pregnant, became a fugitive of the dwarves for trespassing and unveiling an ancient secret, and then managed to contact her long-lost younger brother Shorian. Also, she recently gave birth to a magical half-orc baby and she called him Damien and decided to keep and raise him. So Shorian naturally wants to take vengeance on the orcs who raid and plunder villages like his, and additionally there are now orcs who seem to wield weirdly advanced technology and weapons. And also for some reason they try to break the barriers placed by the gods to protect the material plane of existence. Lots of main quest story details that I can't share, but you're more than welcome to hypothesize and ask my players what they think in the comments. In this part of the drawing, I start to think about the final design of the piece and decide to add the symbols of major enemies the party encountered. First is the symbol of the four-sided pyramid, geometrically known as the tetrahedron and commonly known as the numberless D4. In our campaign, this is the symbol of the no longer imprisoned god of lies, Cyric. We don't have time to go through why Cyric's symbol is a pyramid, so we'll move on to the circle that has a line through it, a symbol they recently found scarred on the body of an orc scouting party member. And last, the square spiral cube, yet another magical interdimensional prison where a specific heavily modified version of the Witch King Vecna was kept in a time fragment. I feel my way towards the right coloring and effect I want these elements to have, and truth be told, they end up much cleaner than I would have liked, but all in all, they came out fine. Next, I lean into the somewhat designy look I got here with the floating elements, and I decide to add a floating frame. I match the colors to those of the floating enemy symbols and chip the frame itself where the sword scorched it. And we're done. Let's take a look. I dedicate this video to you and all of my players. I love you guys and love playing with you. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you like Helm Bull. I think he came out really nice. It was a relatively short video despite it being a painting, but when the concept is so embedded into my head and I also don't draw a background, I guess this is my way of taking it easy, but still putting out a decent video for you all. Gotta feed the horde. If you want to support me so I could make more stuff like this or like my regular videos, I have a Patreon. I mostly upload memes and sneak peeks from the creation process of my videos, but I'm planning to add some more things once more people join in. If you don't want or can't join for any reason, you can still support me if you hit like, subscribe, and share this video to your friends or foes. It's free and it could really help me if you would. Also, tell me what you think about the new stuff I tried here, like the Necromancer emotes and this type of video of me rambling about my D&D campaign. I'd love to hear your feedback so I could get better and we could all get better stuff out of it. In the meantime, thanks again for watching, tell me in the comments what you want to see next, and for now, bye!